I am so sorry. Judy, thank you for letting me know. I had my mic muted because there were so many things going on till I didn't think about unmuting my mic. Thank you for letting me know. I've been just talking and y'all don't even know what I said. Isn't that terrible? And here it comes. Pastor had to step out. Baby girl started coughing, so he had to step out. Take care of baby girl. She seems to be okay now. But I'm just glad to see you. You're here with us. And I was just running my mouth, and you guys didn't hear a word of it. But anyway, we're glad to have you with us. Glad you're with us, Dee Dee and George. I just said we got to have our monthly meeting with you guys. Keely and Mark, thank you for your donation. We did get it. And we're just happy to have you with us this morning. And Sinette's coming in from Denmark. I just said so much. Now I hate you guys missed it all. John, let me know where you are, where you're located. I've often wondered about that. And Vern is here. And is this the week you guys go to Georgia, Vern? Let me know. Hey, James D. Jill, we missed you, sweetie. We missed you. Thank you so much, Jill, for letting us know that we didn't have any sound yet. And Sandra said, turn my volume up. I didn't have my mic on, Sandra. It was muted because we've been doing so many things this morning. So you guys still can't hear me? Let me know. You should be able to hear me now. You should be able to hear me now. Let me know. Coming in. No sound yet.
What's going on?
She said how much I was talking was hilarious. Let me know if you still can't hear me, please.
Miss Phyllis, let us know. Can you hear us?
Please let me know if you can't hear me. And I apologize.
Dion said they do.
Okay. Because I was running my mouth. Like Morgan said, I was just running my mouth and talking. And I was greeting you guys coming in and letting you know that we appreciate you and that we see you. And I was saying that the early bird appeared to be Sandra, but it actually is Mama Chris because she's on the phone listening to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just running off. That's right. I was just running off. And all right, Vern, I got you. Now we're good.
Okay.
Okay, that's hilarious. You're right. It is hilarious. I was just running off at the mouth. Anyway, let's see where we're gonna start. I think I want to do another meditation. You want to do one? You chopping at the bit.
We
this
need
morning?
to go on into it. Let's go.
Need to go on into it. All right.
You got something to start with?
Well, go ahead if you're ready.
This is what we call heart-to-heart conversations. It's there is a place in you that your still self, your quiet self, there is a non-vocal hearer and speaker. It sounds crazy to say somebody talk without moving their mouth, but when you understand the world of the spirit realm and who you really are, you didn't come here speaking Greek, German, Latin, and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You came from the place of stillness.
That's true.
All of us did.
Yeah.
But I want to say this. I've noticed over the years, it seemed like the quiet self, or your higher self, is the quiet self. Mm-hmm. Is very still, and you can hear, but not with your physical ear, but it'll be an inner ear. We call it, and when you go get hearing tests, they deal with the inner ear, mm-hmm. the middle ear.
Yeah.
And the middle ear is connected to your heart. The heart of God, hear this now, the heart of God is us.
Yes.
We, all of us at once.
Yes.
The awesomeness of the presence, we come online and we talk about different things. but it's not. There's something that reaches beyond belief. I heard somebody say this week, uh, "I don't believe that way. I don't believe that way. I don't believe this way. I don't believe like they do." That sounds more like, to me, it sounds like your ego is spurting its mouth and
Yes.
blowing its top off.
Yes. Yes.
In stillness, there's no such conversation as belief,
Yes.
because belief is turned over into facts
Or knowing.
or knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we often hear when we were coming in the box or brick and mortar, your faith make you whole. But there is something that without faith it's impossible to please him. But you notice him,
Mm-hmm.
the himness,
Mm-hmm.
the you-ness,
Mm-hmm.
everybodyness, none of anybody's business.
Busyness.
Yeah. Um, Sit down and have a little talk with your Christ self in stillness. When I started out long years ago, I went in the closet and I sat there.
Yeah.
I said to I didn't know I was talking to myself, my inner infinite identity, right in the same seat.
Mm-hmm.
I sat there and I said, I don't want anything. I don't want to ask you for anything. There may be needs, but I refuse to ask for anything that is needed. I want to sit right here in the presence of you and I and wait on you as a waitress do in a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I would sit there and still. Sometimes I sit there half hour all day. The mind will still be jumping.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody is not going to be able to silence the monkey mind.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I heard somebody say, well, I'm not there yet. And I want to be able to hold on to my oneness.
And we keep saying that the reactions, the feelings, the thought uh, bombardments, that doesn't go away.
You are.
But you override them, and it's not that they go away. You don't feel them. You don't experience that. But it's a knowing that you are watching it, that you are witnessing it, not that you're in it. So it's not that it goes away. You don't silence the monkey mind.
Miss Judy, I remember so well.
You simply pay it no mind.
Yeah, I remember so well that I was sitting in there, and when I came out, I was in a bookstore. And when I came out, I went to the bookstore to pick up some books. During that time is the faith and see it, believe it, and all that. And I was standing at the counter, and I noticed somebody moving out of the left side, the right side of my eye. Look, and when I looked, I saw Jesus standing at the door. He took his right hand and pointed at me.
Yeah.
And then with his left hand, he pointed another direction. At the end of his left hand, I saw my closet. Then I realized that the closet was my physical anatomy.
Yes. There's an inner closet.
I was
right here.
I was inside of me.
Yes.
I am the insider.
Yes.
Now, when I found out that everybody in church wanted to get God in them, I began to investigate what was already there before you tried to get something in you.
Yeah.
Who is the you that wants something in?
Yeah. Well, the end of religious thinking is when you realize that God is right here in your own soul as your being,
Here's the challenge. Collapsing the space between you and God. Collapsing the distance. The distance, not space, but distance.
The distance, yes.
So what I started doing, I started going on through every book that I had and even the Bible and the course. And when I got into each word was separated, divided.
Mm-hmm.
It carries its own place.
Mm-hmm.
But what I decided to do was not read the words on the page, but read the space in between the words,
Yeah.
the space between each letter.
How do you read the space between each letter? Tell us.
Okay. You read it, Jesus is Lord. You say you won't use that for answer, though. I love you, Jesus. Say the word love and stop
Mm-hmm.
and speak the name. You can do it with your name. You can say, Judy, heal.
So it's taking a pause.
Yeah, that's it. I wait for you to.
Taking
I
a
wait.
Selah,
That's
a Selah,
the
a pause.
pause. That's it. The pause is the. Listen to this. In between each letter, between each paragraph and each word, the pause is the real you. It is stillness. It is the quiet self. It is the no talking self. But when it talks, it's going to be using what was said by mouth, Judy, and then heal. But then in the middle of it, it's going to observe. It is the observing space of your name. When I was in the council room, I walked in and my angel was behind me. He's 11, 12 feet wide, Joker. I could see him from all directions. But here's the most important thing about entering into that council room. I could see in every direction and be standing right there in one place at the same time.
Okay.
I could see Jesus sitting down at the end of the table, and I could see him all around me. But here lately, I am challenged to accept my divinity.
Yes. Yes.
So what I decided to do was read the border around the words, the space around the words. I went through different books. I said, I think I'll not look at what's on the ink and the paper.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll look in between the paragraphs, go all around. So now when I read the book, I don't meditate on the words. I meditate on the meditator. Irish potato, sweet potatoes.
Well, I remember too, years ago, you had a habit of reading in bed, and you would lay in bed and read one scripture, take that one scripture, and then go off into contemplation and reflection about that one scripture. So it's like entering into it, not just getting it mentally, but actually entering into it.
Now listen to this. When you have gone far enough to say, you are now. I'm not talking about faith. I'm not talking about left brain knowledge. I'm not talking about hearing me speak it.
Right.
I'm not talking about you going to a seminar or workshop or any of the classes online. I'm talking about you go straight to the home base, inquisitioning. Now here's the presence. There is a place between each word where if you don't stop before you say the next one, you'll jump right over your true identity in between. The mind is very busy, keeping itself up, identifying itself as the you.
Yeah.
So that
working
you
really
won't,
hard.
so that attention will not stop. Okay.
So finding using the practice of pausing and using the practice of the peripheral vision.
Sound like mindfulness, doesn't it?
It is. Well, I'm glad you said that, because this morning I got up and I went walking around 7. He rode his bike because that's working pretty good for his back. And baby girl and I were walking. So I did the mindful walking. I watched my body move, just simply watched my body move. And I've watched the thoughts, witnessed the thoughts that were going through this head and all of those things. And, I told you guys that I've been, for years, wanting to lose weight. And so just recently, I shared with you that I had to let go of the negative connotation of losing weight and seeing and saying to myself, I want to be slim and healthy, not to lose weight, but to be slim and healthy. Since I've said that, I've come down from 177 to 168. And I've done hardly anything different than I've been doing. And this morning I had a sign that what I was doing is working for me by being mindful. There was only one person on the street the whole time we were walking. And it was an older gentleman, looked like he's in his 80s, almost 90. He was jogging. I met myself as that man, knowing that I could be that. He was slim and healthy at his age. So I saw the confirmation of that mindfulness.
Now, here's what I did too. I wanted to find out, what was it like in the Garden of Gethsemane? Was that really an event that took place? So what I would do when we lived in Winston, I would get up early in the morning and walk all the way down to the end of the street we lived on into the woods. Sometime I would go take my car and get it serviced at the Volkswagen place, and all of a sudden the groanings and travailing, a burden would be there. And I'd get up and I'd listen to the groaning and travailing, and I would get up and walk way away from the service department into a section of woods. I would deliberately get down on the ground on my knees and grab hold to some grass or whatever was there. And I went into the place through meditation, imagery, and delivery. I did everything that my inner self desired to do in that secret place inside of me. I travailed and groaned and groaned and groaned. Your attention would say, somebody gonna see you, catch you. I shut it all out.
Yeah.
I wanted the experience.
Well, you're so animated. I've always said that. He's just so animated. He acts out things that he's experiencing.
I used to go to a place on the school run. I think I took you there one time. And there was a big rock. And I'd go over and on that hill. And at the time I was in school, I looked at that rock. We used to have recess and all that. And I come out and look at it. I was going on to that place on the school run with that big rock when I had started school. Oh gosh, yeah, it was first, second grade, maybe. I had to go to school by myself. School was right up the hill, but I'd go to this place. Now, I wanted to find out. I wanted to go into the facts, the reality, in beingness. And that word, there's a prayer that goes off inside of you. There's a statement that goes off inside. It is so still, but you can hear. Your ears are so sharp. Your eyes are so perfect vision and sight. Your smell in the spirit world, and that, well, I'm going to leave the spirit world inside of you right now. Can pick up the scent. You pick up the scent of God or the fragrance of God through your nostrils. You can actually pick up the vibrational frequency. We had those musical bowls.
They're behind us now.
Yeah. You can pick up the sound. Can you hit one right there?
You want me to hit one?
Yeah, just hit the big one right there. I'm gonna see if you guys can hear it. So you can hear the sound of it, and I'm pretty sure some of you have heard of it. But just hit the bowl. Now that ain't no salad bowl. Now you just okay.
Yeah, it's big. See?
Yeah, it's a
really
10-inch.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to hit it with you. You take that.
All right.
This is what communicates with God and your true self. Hit it.
vibration.
Yeah.
Vibration.
Now, if I take my hand and put it on there, that's the healing power, vibrational frequency that Jesus felt. That when Jesus was walking amongst the crowd and the woman that had the issue of blood touched him, this is what healed her. Yeah. That's what she felt. She felt in her body these vibrational frequencies.
By the way, because these vibrations affect water, and you are 80 to 90% water, it affects every part of your being. So, having demonstrated that, it feels good.
Yeah, it feels good. Now I took this board and put it on my head. Yeah, I'll show you.
You want to put it on your head?
Put it up there. We show you.
You might need a cloth on your head.
Yeah, here's one.
Just stick it up there.
Stick it up there, she said.
Yeah, just stick it up there.
Stick it up there. On the knot. Put it on the knot.
Yeah, on the egg.
Yeah, that, okay. You want to hit it?
Yeah.
Now hit it with both of them now.
Now wait a minute.
Just relax. That will balance your energy centers.
Marlon said he could feel it.
Yeah.
They can feel it.
Hit it again, baby, with the solid one. Now. Whoa. Wow.
And you can feel it go all the way down.
I can look at some of you now and see blue light around you. I can see when I look at your name, I can see it.
And it actually balances the chakras.
It's still going.
It's still going, yeah. It's still going.
And it's also tuning your middle ear, the ear to your spirit or the ear to your infinite self.
Now, are you through with it?
Yeah, I'm through. I'm finished. And when you stop it, you can tell that something is missing in the vibration. The whole ideal of this is that, let me back up. I got a whole lot of things that will say to you.
There's some vibrations that we cannot feel consciously.
Right.
There's some that are very subtle. And so everything around us is affecting us, not really understanding it. We are being aligned.
Now,
being aligned.
As I began to investigate into the 5 colors around Jesus' heart when I saw him, each one of these colors symbolizes a dimension: red, yellow, orange, golden, blue. There are some colors that your infinite self expresses that are not anywhere a color that's beyond the colors that we see here on the earth.
Exactly.
When I used to go on television a lot, doing the talk shows with the different ones as guests, the sound that we hear on television and the colors, they can increase the colors or the range on the screen, and it looks lively on the screen. But when you're in person, it's a flat color.
Yeah,
each one of these,
because you don't see the dimensions.
Right. Each one of these colors symbolizes a note and a color in music.
Well, in scripture, it says, in my Father's house, there are many mansions, many dimensions.
Each one of these vibrational frequencies is one of the places you came from. It is a frequency that you rode on. What do you call that in the Old Testament?
The Merkaba or the Merkaba?
The Merkaba.
It was the chariot.
It was the chariot of Elijah. We ride on these frequencies through communication with each other. And that's the reason why it also showed me how Noah could communicate with the animals. And we personally have had that experience of communicating. Let me give you an example. Yesterday, my neighbor saw me coming in from walking baby girl, and he made conversation with me about my wife. When we first met, she was singing in a group called the Baby Dolls, and they used to sing a lot of Diana Ross songs and things like that. And he was asking me about it. He said, didn't you tell me that your wife used to sing? I said, yeah, but I had a chance to be with her And being around her, learning notes and music also helped me to learn how to operate in a frequency and a vibration. Now, a seer and a mystic understand all of this. You guys are listening to us because you are in that category.
Mm-hmm.
If I could see you and be with you in the finite world, I wouldn't have to wait for somebody to tell me. I would immediately put oil on top of your head and pour it down through the funnel. The opening of the passageway of one of the energy centers shoots right up out of the top of your head. That's why there's a soft spot in a baby's head. That space is open, and it's a good time for you to catch it and feel it with the oil of gladness, symbolically symbolizing the channel that's open and should remain open. It should never be closed.
Also, and I don't know a whole lot about the medical aspect of it, but when a baby is born in that soft spot, it's because the two hemispheres have not yet happened, and it's a whole brain.
It's
there.
a whole brain, oneness.
Whole brain there,
yeah.
And it in the split hemispheres takes place over time.
Yeah.
So going back, rewinding ourselves back to whole brain learning is when the subconscious aspect of us, which houses the whole feeling of God, the whole experience of oneness with God.
Each one of these colors.
Jill Bolte Taylor talked about how that in that subconscious mind, when she had a stroke, that part of her brain that was still active was the subconscious, and it housed everything that God. It housed the actual dwelling of God. She connected on that level through her subconscious mind. So a baby is already connected. An infant is already connected. Bringing that whole brain back is a part of the rewinding back from the egoic structure back to that oneness structure.
We became aware we are the place of God. God lives. Go look on the front of your mailbox, on the side of your mailbox. Whatever your house number is, your street number is, that's where God lives.
Well, even beyond that, in the house, that's where God lives.
I passed through a slum area or a hood area this week, and I could tell that somebody used to live there because the energy around the houses is dark and heavy. That means there is no light there. What brings the light into the house is the indwellers. What brings the colors and the light frequencies and the vibrational expression of stillness in our bodies is us.
Now, can I deal with this fact that you said there's no light there? The absence of light.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The absence of light is where evil resides.
We call it evil.
We call it. That's the only thing. It's the absence of light.
Yeah.
That's what evil is, the absence of light. But in that place where you went and you saw no light, there were beings there who are light but don't know they're light.
I used to, as a little boy, and living in the surrounding I was in, moonshine bootlegging. You heard me talk about it so much. One day I was there in the kitchen with the rest of them, getting ready to get something to eat, and grown folks all around me. And this guy came in. Give me a hand. This guy came in and did a shake with me like this. No, be still. Be still.
Okay.
Hold still.
Okay.
He did a handshake like this. See how her fingers grab around? It's a certain way. He took my hand and did it like this. Then he changed it around like that. Then he went back into this. That was a sign. He told me that had something to do with the hidden mystery behind the Masons. The secret handshake. Now, the priest had in the Old Testament, there's a certain word or something over the top of him, around him, that a sound that had to be made. Whenever he went in to the Holy of Holies, he couldn't just go into that place just because somebody told him. He had to be chosen to be a priest. But what really had to be chosen to be a priest was he had to accept, okay, here we go. He had to be willing to investigate into his divinity and settle the issue before he crossed that mark going into the behind the veil.
He had to be clear.
He had to be clear of his own identity.
And clear of all disturbances.
That's right.
So this is the thing that I want to make sure that I say today, that some of us have started this journey of undoing the ego, removing ourselves from the ego in the sense of undoing. But we become more spiritualized egos, and when we're a spiritualized ego, we tend to want people and things to be a certain way. And we don't realize that wanting them to be a certain way is judgments of the ego. Because we're a spiritualized ego, we think that we're correct and they're not. Okay. That's still egotism.
That's right.
That's still egotism. I don't care how you look at it. If you feel like you're enlightened and they're not, then you're still in egotism. And so it's just a spiritualized ego. So I would behoove you to let go of the wanting them to be different. That is a part of control. And all of that is a part of the ego.
Your oneness with God does not start with some kind of emotion. Your oneness with infinite identity has nothing to do with church and religion. It has nothing to do with teaching and praying. It is when you go all the way down through the vein of God, down to the source.
Yeah, Sue said this. She said that egotism and rightness is a tough thing to shed, and you're so right about it, because that ego, that spiritualized ego, we begin to think that's who we are. That is not who we are. And that's kind of like the last step, because when you've gone through so much undoing, you get to this place where you feel like, okay, I've gotten this, and then it begins to do a rope-a-dope on you. I call it a rope-a-dope because it begins to loop back on itself, and you start to want other things to be different, other people to be different, not realizing that disturbance that's coming, you're moving and moving in that disturbance because you are still in that level of wanting to control. And I want to say it's like I'm trying to get it out. I can't get it all out, but that's true what you said. So that is so true.
Somebody asks you, where were you born? You tell them. What is your birthday? You tell them. How long you been married? You tell them. None of that is true.
None of it is true.
Listen to this. What is true cannot be asked. What is true cannot be said.
Yes.
What is true about you can never be undone.
Yes.
Now, we're getting over into the mystical side of who is it that tells the truth about your identity.
Yes.
Who tells the truth about your identity, about the true identity, is the quiet self.
Yes. Now I want to deal with what they're saying, because this is we've got to let them understand. We've got to help them understand that what they're dealing with is still their ego when they've got a relationship and they're uncomfortable with that relationship. Now Sue's saying this, and she said it's a frustrating place to stand in. I've learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Okay.
Laurie says, I'm dealing with this ego in my relationship with another. I think this is a grace. I call it acid grace, because you guys have the benefit of iron that sharpens iron. You have a person in your life that's bugging the hell out of you, and it's forcing you to leave your ego.
That's your question, pure presence. Who is the dealer with?
Yes.
In your stillness, in your quiet self, Your quiet self is not dealing with it at all.
Right. In your pure essence, you are really not concerned about that person.
So now, where does that put you? That puts you in a place of observing, moving according to, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you never lose contact with.
Yeah. Now I fully understand. And I do feel you, because there are times when we jump into that.
Mm-hmm.
We want each other to be different.
Slipping in and out, peeping and hiding, trying to get more prayer in, trying to get more meditation in.
Mm-hmm.
They're all tools.
Yeah.
But when I found out, here's the settlement. You have to settle in the midst of a storm.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was in the hinder part of a ship. He was settled down in that area of the superconscious, subconscious self. The bow, the lower parts of the ship. Somebody asked me on, we were talking about ships and what make them float.
Ships.
Yeah, big, huge monster sea creatures, I call them. They have ballast boxes or sections. It is sealed with these sections, and air is in there. When I was used to playing in the creeks and make boats, that wood or that metal cannot soak up the water. If it soaks the water, it sinks.
Mm-hmm.
The bulkhead, they can balance a ship out by taking in more water or removing more water to balance it out. They got tugboats now, tugboats now that can, if they can't sink them.
Right.
They are, if they go over, they'll roll back on their top.
Okay.
Now listen to this.
Wow, that's good.
It isn't. It's just something in it.
We are unsinkable.
Yeah, you're unsinkable. That's the unsinkable you is the eternal, still quiet self.
And it doesn't mean we'll never turn over.
No,
but
that's
if
right.
we turn over, we're gonna flip right back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm finding you out for you. Here's what the infinite self is. The infinite self will ask a question. The boat turns over with a question. But the answer to the question is when the boat come back up on its normal position, it cannot sink. I don't care how many decisions that have to be made. You are not ever.
So settling that.
You are the not ever. You are the not ever identity that turns itself around. It's a mystical thing. You ask you to see if you can see you. In other words, they say it like this: you are the rose that finally can smell itself.
Okay. Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. If I ask you the question in dealing with these frustrations and relationships and all of that, if I ask you the question, is God disturbed by it? Is God disturbed by that person? Apparently not. And you're wondering why he don't do something right quick about that person. But apparently God is not disturbed about that person. God is not intervening. He's not striking them dead. In fact, they seem to be doing okay. And in spite of your feeling like they need to change.
What?
Now.
Go ahead.
If God is not disturbed, are you not one with God? Are you not one with God as the watcher? God's watching. Can you find yourself as the watcher, laying in God as the being that you are? Let God be the being, the watcher. Let God be the being. Let God be the being that is not disturbed by what it is watching. As you do that, you will find yourself completely in a place of contentment. Not so much that everything's all right and I don't have to do it, but a place where you don't feel like you got to have something done.
When the space when the distance between you and God is fully collapsed.
That's it.
Okay,
Yes,
hear me now.
yes, yes, yes.
You will see somebody there. You'll be able to discern and recognize. The strongest thing about collapsing the distance between God and us, the strongest thing, watch this, the strongest thing that will show up in the collapsing of the distance is discernment.
Yes. There's a scripture in Ephesians 4, that says, having the understanding darkened,
Mm.
meaning the mind is dark, it can't see, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them. The only thing that keeps you from experiencing God is the ignorance or ignoring. Ignoring. The mind is dark. You can't use the mind to change things. It won't be, it's not able to do it.
I look at my dog, and she is, some dogs don't like to look him in the eye. It intimidates them. But I can look her in the eye and talk to her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, what I was going to tell you what happened about our neighbor. The neighbor came out, and he was talking about the wife and how she used to sing. But I noticed when he got out there that his wife had brought the grandbaby in the baby carriage.
Mm-hmm.
Baby girl, my dog, wanted to get to the baby because the presence of children.
She loves children.
She loves children.
It's like it's on her level.
Yeah, it's on her level. So the granddaddy wanted to get baby out it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But she kept demanding from him to leave her alone so he could get to the baby, before she could get to the baby. Now, the grandmother said the baby may be a little afraid of baby girl. She's really big.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting ready to go to the baby. And the grandfather tried to get baby girl's attention. Baby girl got upset with him. She got upset with him.
Uh-huh.
And she went there like that. And I read her vibration. It said, "Look,
you heard her message.
Her message told her granddad, the baby granddad, I done had enough of you. I'm through with you. Now leave me alone. I want to talk to the baby." But the grandmother didn't let the baby girl get so close. So baby girl dropped the subject. Now here's another thing I found out about how to communicate with the vibrations of animals and everything around it. We'll be sitting there eating dinner, and I'll give baby girl something like a piece of potatoes or some kind of a starchy thing,
or a vegetable.
A vegetable, yeah. Give her a vegetable.
Yeah.
It's okay, but she will smell it and turn her head away. Say, "No, I want meat."
Yeah.
And so what I did, I give her. I trained myself to know how she communicate. I get a piece of meat and I put it into her, and I know she'll take it.
Now, what's so interesting is that once she knows all the meat is gone,
Yeah,
she'll eat the vegetable.
yeah. But now she'll go eat in her bowl, and we serve her what's it called? We call it baby girl chicken. Mm-hmm. My wife cut a piece of the chicken and mix it in with her dog food. She'll root out all of the other stuff out of there to get the chicken. And as soon as everything is clear, she may come into the room and look at us and say, "I want you to see I cleaned my bowl, but I didn't eat everything." What she's looking at is the smell.
Well, and then too, she's waiting to see if we're going to eat anything else that night.
Yeah.
Then when she realizes that we're not going to eat anything
else,
she'll go
finish
back to all
her
food.
Now,
you mentioned all that for what reason?
The reason I'm saying that to you about my neighbor is because he wanted us to see that his grandbaby was a mixed baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I could discern his interest in talking to me. Mm-hmm. And he was telling me, I don't have any problem with brown skinned, dark people, like us and all that kind of stuff. I knew what it was because he don't usually talk to me at all.
Right.
But
Okay.
this time he struck up a conversation. I read the presence. I read the events.
Yes,
Now,
yes. And that, like you were saying, the discernment steps
yeah.
up. Now we have a couple of good comments I want to make sure I mention. Leslie's watching us. She said, "Good morning, God,
Good
watching
morning.
Himself through your eyes."
Now,
And Oliver said, "Insightful teaching." And so it's important that when we're on this journey, I really want to see all of us come to a place where we can live without a book. We can live without any outside inspiration. We can live, and I say live, I mean really live without something constantly assisting us. Not that we don't want everything that we love to do to disappear, but to not have a dependency on all of that. Dependency on sacred text, dependency on certain people, dependencies on certain kinds of relationship, dependencies on certain events of happenings in order to remain what you say we already are. Nothing can change that, like the tugboat. It's unsinkable.
All of them now, they updated now. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the one you're mentioning, you can flip it and it still will come back up. So yes, it can turn over, but it's never sink. It never sinks. So it's like if you can come to the place of knowing this about yourself,
you'll never sink.
You will never sink.
And sinking is getting caught up in, I'm trying to decide on what God wants me to do about this. I'm trying to figure out, does He want me to be with this person?
And all of that is separation language.
Yes, that's not it.
That's separation language.
When you settle the issue, watch this. I want you to hear this now. When the issue has been settled about your infinite identity, I mean, really, knowledge. Look, I'm the righteousness of God in Christ. I'm not talking about sayings. I'm talking about when you have settled the issue to know. It took us 50 years to this point, or give or take a little, to understand what He was showing us about our true identity. Now watch this. The minute your divinity is cleared up, the earth that you stand on will see it.
Yes, it will.
The steps that you walk on in the earth will metaphorically open your shoes up and grab a hold of the destiny that it's been waiting to impart unto you with a knowing of clarity. Some of you, once you settle this issue, you'll understand what past life regressions is all about. When this thing is settled in your divinity, your identity of your true identity, and knowing, it's called going into the secret place of stillness of who you really are and saying, that is who I am, and no compromise. You don't have to stand up in front of the audience or say anything. This is what I call a Garden of Gethsemane, Peter, James, and John in this place with
I'm
him.
glad you said that, because I heard something this morning that really stood out to me. I heard it was whispered inside of me. All of God's soldiers are lambs. All of God's soldiers are lambs. So when we talk about warring or spiritual warfare or overcoming and all of this stuff, it's with the nature of a lamb. The nature of a lamb, the weapon of a lamb is surrender. Is surrender. And so we have kind of missed it by wanting to have control. That's not the nature of a lamb. And all of God's soldiers are lambs.
I do a lot of investigating into near-death studies. I do that because I keep I like the stories they tell. But I began to do an inquisition and investigate into near-death studies recently. I'm paying attention to those who have near-death experiences that go over and come back, and they are still aware of individuality and separation and seeing Jesus in one place and then another. I'm still investigating into the part, how many of them that go over there, and when they get there, they find out that they and Jesus are one.
On one.
They
One.
are, and Christ, Spirit is one. Some of them entered into the light, and the light becomes them, or they become the light. I'm investigating into it because here's the power of this thing. The power of knowing, if you call it a power, I got to the place where I don't like to use the word power.
I know.
Because it is not a very
It doesn't fit what you're
good
trying to
interpretation or translation of beingness.
Yeah, it doesn't fit. I like what Sissy said. Hey, Sissy, this is my biological sister. Sissy said, in contemplating awareness this morning, I sat and watched my many past events, and I noticed that I remained, but it wasn't like I as a person. This discussion is so helpful in locating true essence.
Yep.
Thank you for that, sis. Thank you.
Now, when I say these things, here it is. The earth. I never thought that synchronicity is just jumping everywhere. The disturbance that you guys have been dealing with is the result of waking up.
Yes.
It is the dark night of the soul trying to, it's hanging on to its last nerve.
It's like you're right on the edge.
It is a sign, these dark moments of monkey, just talk.
And it's not so much, it's not you're right on the edge of obtaining.
No.
You're on the edge of the death of the monkey mind, the death of that egoic mind.
You actually, you're seeing.
And this is the thing. Once this I'll say this milestone has been passed, the mind then becomes no longer your enemy, but it becomes a servant to you. And because you are the Lord of the mind.
Somebody out there is getting information on clearing up this, and it has to do with mortgage. It has to do with catching up. It has to do with something in the area of taxes, something about your house. What to do with it? I see the insight of wisdom coming through, and it's showing you the step that you are going to face, and this thing is going to work out.
Wow.
But there's something that, see, these signs of oil and water trying to mix together is hard. It's hard. Oil and water.
That's a good example.
It's hard. It's hard to do that.
Exactly right.
But let me tell you something.
Yes.
In the mind, in the finite self, oil and water don't mix. But watch this. Here's the miracle working power of identity. Here's the miracle working power of complete settlement of identity. Here's the miracle working power of you locating yourself as the true Christ self in a depthness that even the angelic realm that questions you. They'll question you, but they'll be seeing that you are in the same class beyond them into the Christ awareness. Now, I'm seeing some pretty big things about you, and I want to jump over the mild-mannered stuff and take you into the roughness, because some of you are ready to see and know the truth behind this whole thing. You done heard everybody, and heard everything, you done heard us. Now it's time for you to experience the knowing of who you really are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's time. It's time for you to stop asking questions. How, when, and go ahead on into it and say it's finished.
Well, and all you're saying in that is that it's time to stop being the seeker.
Thank you.
Let the seeker go.
You're there.
Let the seeker go. That takes surrender, though, because if I drop it,
I like what you said. Let me capture you a little bit. Put a top on this thing of surrender. Not any of us can do it. You done tried it. I done gave my life to God. I'm going to live for God. It don't work. It don't work. I'm going to tell you why it don't work.
I'm going to be completely ego-less for the rest of my life.
I'm going to study how the ego works, and I'm going to be able to catch it on every. Let me look here.
And that's, you know what that sounds like? The ego talking to itself.
Okay, here it is. God, your true self, the I am you self, is the one that can only reveal to himself. I wrote something on my notes here.
Pull your stuff over a little
Yeah.
bit, sweetheart.
I wrote some things on my notes here. When God gets ready to answer a question, to make sure it's a perfect answer from a question, he'll ask himself.
He'll
That-
create that
all
question,
through
and
the scriptures,
he'll create the question to answer
Yeah.
it for himself. Yes.
Jesus
Yes.
said, the Father loveth the Son and show him all things that himself doeth, and he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. Shoot marvels. Okay,
Wow.
look.
Wow.
He's talking about his high self. He's talking about that self. Why don't you ask yourself the question, in the form of God, what does he think about this relationship? And then let him answer himself. Go ahead on. This is a challenge for you. This is a speed bump. And you're not going to get out of this thing until God answers himself in your form.
That's true. That's true.
And he's already done that.
That's true.
Just take it easy. Take it easy. I mean, settle the dust.
Yeah.
I told the musicians, we had a full house musician, praise team and everything. I walked up to one of the guys blowing the saxophone. I said, a door getting ready to open for you. And I said, you're getting ready to see it. And it was operating with Bishop Jakes. Another one was sitting there. I didn't say anything to him because I knew that he was not ready to hear what was said to the other guy. So I waited. Now I can tell him. You will tell and express the perfect mind of God in everything you do if you just settle the dust and relax.
Yes.
Because that part of you that's asking questions is the monkey.
Yes. Now our time is up.
Yeah, look at that.
Our time is up.
Oh, Lord. Wait, you know what? You never get through.
You never get through.
Because there's no end to you.
But we thank you for tuning in to us. Of course, we'll be back on Tuesday night at 7. And if you want to give, we appreciate all of your support to
Please
Cornerstone. We thank you guys for donating to Cornerstone. Those of you who have been doing that on a regular basis, thank you so much. That assists us as well. And for those of you who've been giving us Cash App donations, thank you so much for Pastor
Thank
and
you.
I.
Yeah, we thank you so
really have
much.
been blessed by you guys doing that. And so we're not going to even push give, because I know that you have to give out of a place of already having abundance. So when you give, you're the closest thing to God when you give.
Now,
I like the bowl. That I tell you.
You like that?
You guys got to get you a bowl. Got to get you
now
a
they
bowl.
come in 12s and 20s. You know, they're expensive when you get up into that heavy stuff. Now, you should get that one over.
That sounds so good. Oh, it sounds so good. You can't make it sound like that.
Yeah.
Okay, now hold it. They got some good comments coming. I'm going to put what Ollie said. Ollie said this. Hey, Ollie. He said, Hebrews says it this way. There is a rest for the people of God. Labor to enter into this finished work and cease from your own work. True labor is surrender, our own only reality, which is God. Amen.
Your surrender is Him, not in it or something to be obtained. Not
it is who you are.
It is you are God's surrendered self.
And just say, I do it like this.
No more sweating.
I just do it like this. God, you got this. You got it.
That's right.
You got this.
You are the surrendered God to Himself identity.
You got this.
You catch that turnaround? You are the surrendered God unto Himself identity.
Type that in. You are the surrendered God.
You are the surrendered God self
to Himself.
To Himself.
You are the surrendered.
You are the surrendered God Himself to Himself.
That's a lot of Himself.
Yeah. You are the surrender of God already to himself.
Well,
It's
hello,
already done.
hello, Buzz. He said he had to watch it again because his power went out. Well, watch it again, Buzz.
Okay, Dr. Buzz. Put some gas in your tires and some air in your tank. Let's
Look,
take off on this galaxy, Star Wars, Skywalkers. Let's walk the sky, walk the clouds.
now you guys see, baby girl is slipping in the picture. Look,
Uh-oh, there she is.
she realizes the time is up.
There she
She's
is.
the timekeeper, you know.
There
and
she is.
there
That's the baby
she
girl.
is.
There's the baby girl.
She's saying all of my treats are gone. Well, they're not really, but here.
She wants to get in on the broadcast. Look at
Got
that.
it? Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
She got it.
See you guys later. We'll see you Tuesday night. And Pastor Norman and I will be back on Thursday at 1:30 to do our impromptu. So we're looking forward to seeing you. Thank you for tuning in. Bye. We'll say goodbye.
Goodbye, y'all. Hey, I'm with you. I'm in your heart. I've always been. Can't run me out. I'm going to stay there.